Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Vagishadhyas sumanasas sarvarthanamupakkrame yannatva kritakrityasyastanamami gajananam Sharada Sharadam Bhoja Vadana Vadanambuje Sarvada Sarvadasmakam Sannidhim Kriyat Pramananakha Nirbhinna Mahamohamararaye Namaskurmo Nrisimhaya Swaprakasha Chidatmane सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां शङ्कारूपेण मच्चित्तं पङ्कीकृतमभूद्यया किङ्करीयस्य सामाया शङ्कराचार्यमाश्रये प्रह्लादवरदो देवो यो नृसिंहः परो हरिः नृसिंहोपासकं नित्यं तन्नृसिंहगुरुं भजे श्रीसच्चिदानन्दशिवाभिनव्य नृसिंहभारत्यभिधान्यतीन्द्रान् विद्यानिधीन् मन्त्रनिधीन् सदात्मनिष्ठान् भजे मानवशम्भुरूपान् सदात्मध्याननिरतं विषयेभ्यः पराङ्मुखं नौमि शास्त्रेषु निष्णातं चन्द्रशेखरभारतीं विवेकिनं महाप्रज्ञं धैर्यौदार्यक्षमानिधिं सदाभिनवपूर्वं तं विद्यातीर्थगुरुं भजे अज्ञानाञ्जाह्नवीतीर्थं विद्यातीर्थं विवेकिनां सर्वेषां सुखदन्तीर्थं भारतीतीर्थमाश्रये विद्याविनयसम्पन्नं वीतरागं विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञं विधुशेखरभारतीम् नमः कोदण्डहस्ताय सन्धीकृतशराय च खण्डिताखिलदैत्याय रामायापन्निवारिणे उद्भवस्थितिसंहारकारिणीं क्लेशहारिणीं सर्वश्रेयस्करीं सीतां नतोऽहं रामवल्लभाम् आञ्जनेयमतिपाटलाननं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि पवमाननन्दनम् कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम् Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. With namaskaram to the Padapadmas of Ohe Jagat Gurus and to Sharadamba and to Sri Ramachandra, Sita Devi and Hanuman. As Sri Ramanavami is coming up, in honor of that occasion of this Parvadina, we will be looking at a very important part of Ramayana called Kacchit Sarga, as per Acharya's, with Acharya's grace. So, as we all know, some of the main three texts that we have in Sanatana Dharma besides Shruti and Smriti are the Ramayana, Mahabharata and Bhagavata. These form the basis of the cultural stories that we tell, of almost even the names that we give our children, most of the cultural festivals that we have. So not things like Jayantis and all, but things like Deepavali. So many festivals are based around the Ramayana, Mahabharata and Bhagavata. So these stories undoubtedly are very crucial to understanding our culture, understanding our dharma, understanding the Vedika Jivana Vidhana, the Vedic way of life. And as such, it is important to look at the parts of these texts wherein Upadesha happens. So obviously, as we know, in Mahabharata, there are several places where amidst the story, many teachings are done. Of course, the Shikhamani, the crown jewel amongst all of those, is the Bhagavad Gita. Besides that, we have the Sanat Sujatiya, we have Vidura Niti, wherein Vidura teaches Dhritarashtra about Rajaniti right before the Sanat Sujatiya. We have the Yaksha Prashnas in the Aranya Parva, wherein Yudhishthira answers the questions that Yamadharma Raja asks him. So there also you have Dharma Tattva Bodha. So in many places through Mahabharata, you will see that Dharma is being taught. That is, of course, the case in Bhagavata as well. In fact, in the very beginning, we say Dharma projhita kaitavatra paramaha. We are telling the greatest Dharma here bereft of any chala, of any kaitava. So there is no arthavadas, there are no roundabouts, there are no turns. We are telling you the straight Dharma, straight and as it is the way that, in the first 4 or 5 shlokas of Bhagavata, you will get that right after Satyam Parantiyamahi. So in Bhagavata, of course, you have several Gitas there also. You have Hamsa Gita, Gopika Gita, some of these are in praise of Paramatma. But of course, given that it is a Purana, it is the Bhagavata Purana, you will have many Sargas, many Adhyayas in the Purana, outlining the Varnashrama Dharmas, outlining the way that a man ought to, a human ought to conduct his life and all. And of course, in the very same way, we have several places in Ramayana wherein we're instructed not just of jnana or moksha, but on dharma, the way to lead a righteous and fruitful life. And you'll get dharmas, dharma sukshmas. But the main go-to whenever we look at dharma in Ramayana is obviously Rajadharma, because the Kavya Nayaka, right, the hero of the epic, the hero of the poem is a Kshatriya, and he will have to follow Rajadharma. Means that most of the dharmopadeshas that are done in this Kavya will, if they are specific, in the sense if they are not Samanya dharmas, they will be specified generally to Kshatriyas. Right? The Kshatriya Dharma will be seen because we will see what Rama is doing. How does Rama act? How does Rama behave? What does Rama ask about? What does Rama inquire about? To what does Rama ascribe importance? Right? So when we look at all of that, we'll see both, just Samanya Dharmas, general Dharmas, as in what should a son be doing? What should a father be doing? What should a husband be doing? And the same thing goes for Sita as well. What should a wife be doing? What should a mother be doing? What should a daughter be doing? What should a daughter-in-law be doing? We see all of that. Sugriva, we will see what should a friend be like. With Hanuman, we see what should an emissary, a duta, be like. With Vibhishana, we see how should you act if you are shoehorned into a corner wherein the people that you're closest to are not on the right path, right? And then you have the counterpart of Vibhishana still within the Ravana Paksha, which is Kumbhakarna. So Vibhishana and Kumbhakarna both know that what Ravana did was adharma. So, and both of them actually tell Ravana that as well. So while Vibhishana says it in the court, Kumbhakarna says it once he's woken up. He says, "Who told you to do all this? Did you ask your ministers and all before stealing Sita, before kidnapping Sita? You did not. So it is better you give Sita back." Kumbhakarna says this to Ravanasura in Yuddhakanda. So if we look at it, both Vibhishana and Kumbhakarna know what dharma is, and both of them are willing to tell their brother that. The difference is that Vibhishana was not willing to fight for a dharma, whereas Kumbhakarna was willing. He put the dharma of following your brother's orders or following your brother's counsel above the dharma of fighting on the side of dharma. So we see various characters ascribe importance to dharma in various ways. And therefore, in Ramayana, one of the most important sargas, or one of the most important places where dharmopadesha happens that we see is Kacchit Sarga. So, which is why it is said that Bhaktya Bhagavatam Jneyam, Bhaktya Yuktya cha Bharatam, Bhaktya Yuktya cha Vyutpatya Ramayana Maharnavam, Ramayana Maharnavaha Jneyaha iti shashaha. So it is said that for Bhagavata, to understand Bhagavata, you need pure bhakti. Bhakti, you can take it as bhakti as in devotion, or even bhakti in terms of jnana. Right? Bhagavad Pada says, Swaswarupanusandhanam bhakti ritti bhidhiyate. Right? The search for oneself, the understanding of oneself is the pinnacle of bhakti. So you can take it that way because Bhagavata is Moksha Shastra. And in the same way, Bhaktya Yuktya cha Bharatam. You need to not only have bhakti when looking at Mahabharata, but also yukti. You need to have some, a logical bent of mind, because you are dealing with politics. Half the kavya is teaching, half the epic is teaching, the other half is politics. So you will have to have a shrewd mind when looking at it. So intelligence is basically what we're talking about there, a sharp mind. For Ramayana, just bhakti will not suffice, just bhakti and yukti, just bhakti and intelligence will not suffice. But bhaktya yuktya cha vyutpatya. Vyutpatti means knowledge. You should not just be, you should not just have bhakti or just have yukti, but you need to have vyutpatti. You need to be intelligent as well. It means you need to be well read. That is what vyutpatti means. It means being well read. The intelligence that comes of being well read. Right? There is a certain street smarts almost kind of, you will say, right? Just the general intelligence in terms of the capability to comprehend information, process information, and deal with the world around you. But when it comes to this, you need a certain Shastra Jnana also. Shastra Jnana not in the sense that you need to be, Badhanta Tarka Pandita, you need to go through Shabara Bhashya, Mimamsa, not that kind of thing. But Loka Vyavahara, you should be well read. So Artha Shastra, Rajaniti Shastra, these also you need to be well written. And of course, if you are well read in Vedas also, there are many things. Shruti and Smritis also make a hefty appearances in Ramayana as and when the situation comes up. So Ramayana requires bhakti because you have the three greatest devatas, or three of the main devatas of Sanatana Dharma, right? So we have the Panchayatana Siddhanta that Bhagavad Pada has put for us. Adityam, Ambikam, Vishnum, Gananatham, Maheshwaram. So Surya, Shakti, Shiva, Vishnu and Ganesha, or just any concept of Brahman, any form of Brahman will fall into one of these five. So three of these forms are visible to us in Ramayana, wherein Rama is of course Mahavishnu, Sita Devi is of course Shakti, Adishakti, and Anjaneya is Rudramsha Sambhava, Rudravirya Samudbhavaha, we get right. So Anjaneya is Rudra, Shiva. So you have three devatas that are giving us, the ideal of dharma for us to look up to and follow. So because this is the case, it is important that we pay special attention to their charitra. So that bhakti needs to be there. Yukti, of course, there is a good deal of politics in Balakanda and Ayodhya Kanda. There are things that not many people understand. I mean, people don't look at when generally the story is being told, but some fine points, as in many people don't know that when Dasharatha wed Kaikeyi, so we say that Rama should have had the kingdom because he was the eldest son, but it is not as well publicized that when Dasharatha married Kaikeyi, so obviously he did not have any children with Kausalya, no children were born, though he had desired children. No children were born with Sumitra. So the third queen is Kaikeyi. So when he was wedding Kaikeyi, it was for the sake of children. So when he was wedding Kaikeyi, the princess of the Kekaya kingdom, the Kekaya Raja, he gave a word. Dasharatha Maharaja gave a word to the Kekaya Raja that the son that is born to Kaikeyi will become the king. Right, so it is not now all of a sudden it is not as easy to point out Kaikeyi as some crooked scheming woman, because that was the condition that the marriage happened for with, right? So if you're married saying that okay, my child will be king, then it changes. You have a certain right to expect that, but then there is another nyaya wherein that was only agreed upon given that there were no other children. So he married Kausalya because he did not have any other children. But now that children are born to everyone, that is no longer, that agreement is now void. And as per the usual, as per the norm, the eldest son will become king. So this is the way that Samanvaya is done later on, the way the situation is resolved later on. But all of this is happening behind the scene. It is not so straightforward as I want Rama out of the way so Bharata will be king. And there is more going on here. And even we'll see in Ayodhya Kanda, when Bharata comes and Rama refuses to come, there is something that happens there that comes later on. So when Rama kills Vali, and Vali says, "How can you? What right do you have to shoot me from hiding? And what right do you have to put to? I am a king of a different kingdom, right? So what right do you have? You are roaming the forest. So what right do you have to interfere with our political affairs?" Rama says, "I am the heir to the Ikshvaku throne. And if I am ranging these forests, I have the right to reinstall dharma in these lands if I see fit. If I see a transgression of dharma, it is my duty to set that wrong right." So he says that I am doing this. But the other thing is Rama still has the authority of the Ikshvaku kingdom. Right? So Rama is not in exile completely per se. Rama followed the dharma of Vanavasa, as in he did not enter any cities. He did not enter Shringiverapura, and he did not enter Guha's kingdom per se. He did not enter Kishkindha, so he did not go to Sugriva's Pattabhisheka. He sent Lakshmana as his pratinidhi, as his emissary. But he did not enter Kishkindha. He also did not enter Lanka. He sent for Sita to be brought out. He sent Lakshmana to supervise Vibhishana's Pattabhisheka. But Rama did not enter Lanka. So that was followed. But he was not bereft of power. That is another thing. And now if we ask why, because it is very clear in the terms that Kaikeyi has asked for Rama to stay in the forest and for Bharata to be king. And even if we say that okay, Bharata took Rama's Padukas, legally speaking the Padukas are king. Bharata is ruling in the Padukas state. So the Padukas have the power and Bharata has the right to carry that out. But there is an agreement between Rama and Bharata when Bharata comes. So of course Bharata asks Rama to return to Ayodhya. Rama says, "No, I will fulfill our father's promise." And then Rama says, "If you really want, this is what we'll do. You rule from Ayodhya. So you rule out of Ayodhya and I will be ruling the forests." That is the way that Rama, and ruling means I will be looking over the governance of the forests. So you rule the kingdom, all the urban areas, the rural areas, you look over everything that is, part of the kingdom. And because I am in Vanavasa, I will govern, I will look after the forests. So this is there in Ramayana. So which is why Rama then took it upon himself to do the Dandana of Vali, because Vali had committed adharma. So in this way, there are several places in Ramayana where you will need a keen gaze and where you will need a shrewd mind in order to interpret why things are happening and how they're happening. Which is why, as we see in the shloka, bhaktya yuktya cha vyutpatya Ramayana Maharnavaha. It is a Maharnava, it is a great ocean of knowledge. And if we are to make the most of it, you should have these three. So we will be looking at one such Sarga in Ramayana today called the Kacchit Sarga. It comes in Ayodhya Kanda. It is the 100th Sarga of the Ayodhya Kanda. So the situation is as follows. Rama is in Chitrakota Parvata. Bharata has returned to Ayodhya from his uncle's house. He sees his father passed away. Kaikeyi tells him what she has done. He chastises Kaikeyi. He says, I do not want this kingdom. I will go and bring Rama back. So with an army, with Vasishtha Maharshi, the Purohita of the Raghuvamsha, with all three queens, with everyone in the kingdom that is of importance, he sets out to Chitrakuta and he falls on Rama's feet, begging him to come back. So where this Kacchit Sarga starts is Bharata has not said anything yet. Bharata has come and fallen on Rama's feet. Bharata fell on Rama's feet. And at that moment, this Kacchit Sarga starts. So Rama is not aware of what has happened in Ayodhya. Rama does not know that Dasharatha Maharaja has passed away. Rama does not know that Bharata is here to call him back. Rama does not know what has happened in Ayodhya since he left. So Rama starts inquiring after the welfare of everyone in Ayodhya, and then Rama assumes that Bharata is ruling, right? Because he doesn't know that Bharata denied Kaikeyi and all that. So Rama doesn't know that, so he's asking Bharata, "Are you ruling properly? Are you ruling as per dharma? Are you ruling as per Shruti and Smriti? Are you ruling as per Shastra? Are you following dharma? Are you benevolent to the people? Are you looking after all the people you have put in important positions?" So all of this, Rama basically asks Bharata about his administration. And in the guise of asking Bharata about his administration, he is actually instructing Bharata on the way that administration should be carried out. So if, for example, if a father asks a son, are you studying well for the exam? It means that you should be studying for the exam. It is not just asking, are you studying? It is a reminder that you should be studying. In the same way, for example, if Rama asks Bharata, have you made sure that you have appointed able ministers? It is an instruction to Bharata that you should appoint able ministers with the aforementioned qualities. So in that way, this Kacchit, it is small, only 76 shlokas. The first few are just asking about the welfare of those near and dear to him, Kausalya, Kaikeyi, Dasharatha, Vasishtha Maharshi, all of that. But from afterwards, Rajaniti starts. So we will be splitting this into two sessions. Today we will be doing the first half on Ashtami. Ramanavami we will be finishing the Kacchit Sarga. It is a small one, but so we'll have maybe slightly shorter sessions that people are used to with me. But that will be the subject material. So Bharata has come and fallen on Rama's feet. We will look at every single shloka in the Sarga because, as I said, it is a short Sarga, so there's, we might as well look at every single shloka. So, tapasvadhyaya tapasviyagutam varnaradam paripapracha valmikirmuni pungavam atha shatatamah sargaha Jetilam Chiravasanam Pranjalim Patitam Bhuvi Dadarsha Ramo Dardarsham Yugante Bhaskaran Yatha. First shloka. So Rama sees Bharata who has fallen on the ground. Patitam Bhuvi. Bharata has come and fallen in front of Rama. He is prostrated. He has not said anything yet. So Rama saw him. Dadarsha. How did he see him? Durdarsham. Jetilam. So Bharata is wearing matted locks. So what Bharata said was in Ayodhya, whatever Rama does, I will follow the same thing. So if Rama is wearing Chiravasana, if he is wearing garments made of bark, I will wear the same. If Rama is having Jata, matted locks, I will also have the same thing. So Jatilam Chiravasanam Pranjalim with Namaskara Patitam Bhuvi. He has fallen on the ground. Dadarsha Ramo Durdarsham Yugante Bhaskaran Yatha. So Bharata fell on the ground and he was Durdarsha, means he was very hard to see. What does this mean? Because obviously Rama's eyes are working fine and Bharata is right in front of him. What it means is one of two things. If someone near and dear to us is in a very sorrowful state, we cannot bear to look at them, right? Even if a little baby is crying, those of us with soft hearts or with even normal hearts we won't be able to bear to see that child crying. So when you have someone that is dear to you, when you have someone that you have affection for, you will not even be able to bear the sight of them in a pitiable condition. Right? So Rama obviously sees that Bharata's anguish and distress. There is not a trace of happiness in his face. So Rama is unable to look at Bharata in such a distressed condition, which is what we see in the next shloka. Kathanchidabhivignaya vivarnavadanam krisham bharatam ramah parijagraha bahuna. So he is Kathanchid Vivarnavadanam. So Bharata's face is not in the usual color, it is pale, emaciated. Krisham, he is thin, he looks sickly. Bharatam Ramaha Paijagraha Bahuna. So such his brother, he lifted him up by the arms. And how Kathanchid Abhivignaya, somehow or the other, he realized that is Bharata. So when Bharata fell, he's like, who is this that has come? It does not look like anyone that is like, oh my god, it is Bharata. So Bharata became like this. He is Krisha, he is Dina. What happened to Bharata? So then Rama lifted him up. Agraya Ramastam Murdhni Parishvajya Raghavah Ankam Bharata Maropya Parya Prichat Samahitaha. So Rama hugged him. Agraya Murdhni. We still do this. So with babies, these days we have started kissing, but usually we never used to kiss babies. You will smell, you will inhale the aroma that comes from the baby's face, right? Because all babies smell pretty good. So there is some natural fragrance that is born of those people that are young. So if you look at the shloka, Rama is treating Bharata as someone that is very young. So Agraya Murdhni, he took him and went close to his head so as to inhale that, and then Parishvajya, he hugged him, and then Anke Bharata Maropya, he sat Bharata on his lap. And then Parya Prichat Samahitaha. Then he asked Bharata. So from here on out, the questions start. Kvate Kvanute Bhut Pita Tata Yadaranyam Tamagataha Nahitvan Jivitastasya Varamagantumarhasi. Bharata, where is our father due to which you have come to the forest? So basically Rama's point is, when our father is there, he is elderly, you should be looking after him. Why did you leave him there and come to the forest? You should either come with him or stay with him. You should not leave him and come. So he says, where is our father? You have come to the forest. You should not leave. It does not befit you to leave our living father and come to the forest. Nahi tvam jivitastasya vanamagantum arhasi. It does not befit you to come to the forest whilst our father is still alive. So obviously Bharata is also a dharmishtha. Bharata also follows dharma. So it is to be understood by the reader. The reader knows, Rama does not. The reader knows that Dasharatha Maharaja has passed away, but Rama does not. But Rama dvarna abhibhashate. Rama's words never go wrong. So if Rama says it does not befit you to come to the forest if our father is still alive, the reader then understands that, well, of course, the father is no longer alive. Chirasya bata pashyami durat bharatamagadam dushpradeekamaranyesmin kintatavaramagataha. Why have you come to this remote forest? Kacchit dharayate tata rajayatva Kacchinnudinaha sahasa raja lokamtarangataha. He says, Bharata, I hope Kacchit dharayate. I hope the king persists. I hope the king is still well and okay since you have come to the forest. Hopefully, Kacchinnudina sahasa raja lokamtarangataha. Hopefully, he has not moved on to the next world, Rama says. Kacchit saumya nate rajyam bhrashtam balasya shashwatam. Kacchit shushrushase tata pitaram satya vikramam. Kacchit Saumya. One thing I should say, Kacchit. What is this Kacchit? We are calling it Kacchit Sarga and Kacchit is coming. Kacchit means, is it not? Or is it not so? It is a prashnarthaka. It implies that what is being asked is a question. So if you say, Ramaha Vanangataha, it means Rama has gone to the forest. If you say, Kacchit Ramam Vanangataha, it means, has Rama gone to the forest? Kada annattu in Telugu. Hena in Hindi. So it is, you say something and then is it not so? That is what Kacchit is. So Kacchit Saumya Nate Rajyam Bhrashtam Balasya Shashwatam. So Saumya Te Balasya Rajyam Bhrashtanna Kacchit. So Te Rajyam, you are still young, you are a Bala. So hopefully you have not lost your kingdom or anything, right? Your kingdom is still in safe hands. Kacchit, right? Is it not so? Your kingdom is still in safe hands, right? Is what Rama is asking. Why? Because you are a Bala. You are young, right? You do not have ruling experience yet. And the other thing is, you have newly taken command. This is another thing. So many of the things I will be saying are found in the Govinda Raja Vyakhya. So Govinda Raja was a Vaishnava. He wrote a Vyakhya to Ramayana called Bhushana. In some places there are Vaishnava chayas wherein Shiva Ninda is done, but setting that aside, when it comes to Laukika Vishayas, it is a very good Vyakhya. So a lot, he has given some very good details when it comes to the things that Rama asks here, and why Rama has asked certain things. So as in when we will be taking those. So here he says, why is Rama asking Bharata if he has lost the kingdom? It is not lost, or if the kingdom is still in safe hands. It's because Bharata is young, right? Balasya. The second thing is, transitions of power are always very delicate situations, whether it be kingdoms back then or administrations today, right? If the administration of India is changing every 5 years, or in the US if it changes every 4 years, or whatever it is in kingdom in the states these days, the transition of power is always a very delicate one, because someone is going out, someone is coming in. There will be a slight power vacuum where the previous president's power does not, previous administrator, president, prime minister, whatever, does not hold sway, because in the US at least he's called a lame duck, wherein the new president has been elected, but the old president is still in office. So that president is called a lame duck, because he can give GOs, he can give EOs, executive orders, government orders, he can do whatever. But obviously now that he is leaving, no one will listen to him anymore. And the second thing is, the new president has not come in yet, or the new prime minister has not come in yet. And even when the new president just comes in, generally speaking, way administrations work is they will pick up the pace. You won't have dashing moves made in the first 2 weeks of an administration. So the last days of a previous administration and the first few days of a new administration are days wherein the stability is very important. It is very important that the transition of power happens peacefully and securely. Right? So Rama, of course, knows this. So he is asking, now that I have left, right? The person that was supposed to be king has left. The previous king is old and aging and has transferred power to a young, inexperienced king. So in the midst of all of this, hopefully you have maintained the security protocols, is what Rama is asking. Kacchit shushrushate tata pitaram satyavikramam, and hopefully you are serving our father properly. Kacchit dasharatho raja kushali satyasangaraha rajasuyashramedhana arhata dharma nishchitaha. Kacchit dasharatha kushali. Hopefully Dasharatha is safe and healthy, right? He is hale and healthy, right? And he is Satyasangara, he is Satya Pratigna. He is one whose vows are always true. They will never go in vain. And he is the Pravartaka. He has done several Rajasuyas and Ashwamedha Mahayagas. Dharma Nishtita. He can discern dharma and can make a decision when it comes to dharma. So hopefully that Raja is safe and sound, right? The Dasharatha Maharaja is safe, right? Sakachit Brahmano Vidwan Dharmanityo Mahadyutihi Ikshvakunam Upadhyaya Yathavatata Pujyate. So that Upadhyaya of the Ikshvaku Kula, Ikshvakunam Upadhyaya, Vasishtha Maharshi, our Rajaguru, our Kula Purohita, hopefully Yathavatata Pujyate, you are respecting him as per customs, right? So as our forefathers used to worship that great Rishi, hopefully you also are respecting him in the same way, right? And what kind of character does Vasishtha Maharshi have? He is a Brahmana, Vidwan, he is a scholar, Dharma Nityaha, he is ever established in Dharma, Mahadyutihi, by virtue of his tapas, by virtue of his character, by virtue of his anusthana, he is Mahadyuti, he has attained great tejas. And Ikshvakuna Mabadhyaya Yathavatata Pujyate. That preceptor of the Raghukula, that Kula Guru of the Raghukula is being worshipped, is being revered duly by you, is it not? And then he says, Satata Kacchit Ante. The other thing is, all the people that Rama asks about, it means that as a human, right? So first Rama is asking as a brother, and then he asks as a king. So the father, then the guru, then the mother, and all the people in the Antapura, and all of that come. We'll see. Satata Kacchit Kausalya Sumitra cha Prajavati Sukhini Kacchit Arya cha Devi Nandati Kaikayi. So I hope that Kausalya is also Kushalini. So I hope that these people are all happy, is what Ramayana, they're all happy and safe, right? Kacchit Kausalya, is she okay? Look, there is no adjective, no qualifier given for Kausalya, his own mother. Is Kausalya okay? Sumitra cha Prajavati. Sumitra, who has children. What does it mean to have children? So Matup is used in Prashastyartha. So when you say someone has children, it means someone who has very good children, right? The way we say Hanuman. Hanuman means what? Someone with a jaw. I also have a jaw. Am I not Hanuman? That is not the case. Hanuman has a very great jaw. a jaw so strong, so adamant that it was able to withstand even the prowess of Indra's Vajrayudha. Right? So because he has such a great jaw, he is Hanuman. Right? It is not just whoever has a Hanu. The word means Hanuhu Asya Asti iti Hanuman. Someone that has a Hanu is Hanuman. But the meaning is that he has a very great Hanu. In the same way, Buddhiman. Everyone will have some buddhi or the other, right? There is no one that has an empty brain. But Buddhiman means he has a very good buddhi, he has very great buddhi, he is very intelligent. In the same way, Sumitra acha Prajavati, Sumitra who has illustrious children, because Lakshmana has come with him to the forest. Lakshmana did not have to come to the forest, there was literally no dictum, but out of his Bhratra Bhakti, Tam Lakshmano Anujagamaha, Bhrataram Lakshmano Anujagamaha, Valmiki Maharshi says. So, Lakshmana, who is such an illustrious child, Sumitra, who has such illustrious children, is she happy? And Sukhani Kacchit Arya cha Devi Nandati Kaikeyi. And hopefully, Kaikeyi, who is Arya, the revered, respected, the noble Kaikeyi, is she also happy? Rama asks, means he is not showing any resentment towards Kaikeyi. Then, Kacchit Vinayasam Kulaputro Mahashrutaha. Kulaputro Bahushrutaha Anasoyuhu Anudrashta Sakritaste Purohitaha. So there is Rama then asks, your Purohita is also good, right? Kacchit Vinaya Sampanna, he who is he knows how to deal with things, and Vinaya also means being humble. Kulaputraha, born in a great Vamsha, Bahushrutaha, who is well read, Anasoyuhu, Anudrashta. And so without any irshya, without any jealousy, Satkritaha te Purohita, he is well regarded as Satkritaha, he is respected, right? And Anudrashta, he oversees. Now we will get another question. You already have Vashishta that Ramachandra asked about before. So why is Bharata now asking, Rama now asking about another Purohita? So Vashishta is the Kula Guru, but each household, and inside within the Raghuvamsha, each household will also have their own guru. Right? So Rama has his own guru for example, in Rama's house, if some karya has to happen, and it will happen as per Vashishta's dictum, and someone else will perform that. In the same way, Vashishta will decree what Bharata should be doing in his house, and some other, the Griha Purohita will do that. So what we call is Pratisvika Purohita, Pratissam. To each person there will be a different Purohita. So that is the Purohita. So not the Kula Guru, but Bharata's, the preceptor that is specific to Bharata. The Purohita that is specific to Bharata is who Rama is asking about. And then Kacchit Agrishute Yukta Vidhigyo Matiman Rujuhu Hutancha Hoshyamanancha Kale Vedayate Sada. So that Purohita, is he keeping you up to date? Is he giving you updates on all the Agnikaryas that are being done in your Agnigraha? So for Kshatriyas previously, there used to be this thing called the Agnigraha. So obviously the Kshatriya cannot sit doing yajnas and yagas all day. So they will do whatever Nitya Karma they have to do there, and they will set Paricharakas there, they will set Brahmanas there to tend to those fires throughout the day, the Tretagnis, the three fires. So are those people coming and informing you properly that yes, this has been done, Garhapati has been done, Ahavani has been done, or Dakshinagni has been worshipped? Are they coming and giving you updates and reassuring you that all the things that should be happening, all the religious events that should be occurring have been happening properly? Are they letting you know that? Then Kacchit Devan Pitran Matru Gurun Pitr Samanapi Vriddhanscha Tata Vaidyanscha Brahmanascha Abhimanyase. Are you revering all of these people who, the Devatas, the Pitr Devatas, mother and father, Guru, those people who are like parents, Pitr Saman, Vriddhan, those elders, Vaidyan, doctors, Brahmanan, scholars. Hopefully you are revering all of these people, is what Rama is then asking. So basically, Deva Pitrakarya Bhihanna Pramaditavyam. Basically, what Veda has said, Rama is saying that. Right? Veda Pracheta Sadasit Sakshat Ramayanatman. In many places in Ramayana, you will find these Vaidika Vidhis. So just as in the Shishyanashasana, once the student has finished his studies, and before he leaves the Gurukula, the Guru instructs him, Swadhyaya Pravachana Bhyanna Pramaditavyam, Deva Pitrakarya Bhyanna Pramaditavyam. Do not forget to do your Devakaryas and your Pitrakaryas. Not arguably, as per Shastra, even more so than Devakaryas, Pitrakaryas are more important. So if, for example, there is some Parvadina, Ramanavami or something, and a Shraddha falls on the same day, priority goes to Shraddha, everything else afterwards. First, you have to do the Shraddha because the Pitru Devatas are your responsibility first and foremost. So, are you looking after all the Devakaryas you should be doing, or the Devata worship that you should be doing, the Pitru Devata worship, so all the Shraddhas and Pitrukaryas that you should be doing? Are you looking after all of that? And are you revering our elders, our teachers, our mothers? Are you looking after all of them? ईश्वस्त्रवर संपन्नः अर्थशास्त्र विशारदं सुधन्वानमुपाध्यायं कच्चित्वन्तात मन्यसे. Are you looking after our Dhanurvidyadhyapaka? So the person that taught us warfare, his name is Sudhanva apparently. Ishu Astra Vara Sampannam. He has many great arthas and astras and banas. Arthashastra Visharadam. He is well versed in Arthashastra. Are you looking after? Are you revering that Upadhyaya, that teacher of what Dhanurveda, of warfare? Are you looking after that? Sudhanva. Now, from here on afterwards, all the ways that Bharata should be ruling, Rama is now asking about. Kacchit Atma Samashuraha Shrutavanto Jitendriyaha Kulinaschengitagnyascha Kritaste Tata Mandrinaha. The first thing that Rama asks about is the mantris. Who are you taking counsel from? Who is counseling you? Who is advising you? In today's terms, the cabinet. Who have you appointed as your cabinet? Who have you appointed as your advisors? Because right after Mantro Vijaya Moolam Hirajñam Bhavati Raghava. If you wish to attain success anywhere, you better have good planning and good strategy. So the people that are advising you on that, the people that you are planning with, the people that you are sitting with in order to decide what should be done, you better make sure that they are people that are appropriate. So the qualities that Rama is looking for in a proper advisor, in a proper minister is Atma Samaha. They should be equal to you. What does it mean to be equal to you? It means as you can trust yourself, you should be able to trust them. So put people that are Atma Samaha Nama, Atma Sama Vishwasaniyatvavantaha, Atma Iva Vishwasaniyaha. So those people who are as trustworthy as you are to yourself. So obviously, the one person that a human can trust above all else is himself. So make sure that you only appoint them as ministers if you trust them that much. It does not say to trust them that much. Only appoint people who are that trustworthy, because obviously you cannot trust the mantris the way you trust yourself. But they should be that trustworthy. That is the thing that Rama is asking about here. Shuraha. They should be, Shuraha does not mean you have to go and fight. But Shuraha means you should be bold, in the sense that you should not be meek and let us wait for something to happen. You should have the initiative, the boldness to be able to take steps. Shrutavantaha, well educated, well read. Jitendriyaha, they should have their senses under control, because otherwise the decisions should not have any other bearing on them besides the issue at hand. If you have not conquered your senses, the issue at hand might be interpreted in various ways. Kulinascha, this is not a Kula Vivaksha here, but Kulina just means that it's a background check. What background do they come from? Obviously, the Indian Prime Minister will not appoint someone born in Pakistan to their cabinet, just for this very simple fact that they are the neighbor across the border and they are not Indian. It is that simple. So in the same way, Kulina, are you making sure that their background is of a background that is belonging to this kingdom? We will see this in many places. Ramachandra will say also, somewhere it will come, Janapada. He will ask if the Duta is a Janapada, means born in our country. In the same way, Kulina, or do they come from a proper background, from a trustworthy, reliable background? Ingitagnyascha, they should not need to be spoon-fed every single piece of information. They should not have to sit there not understanding anything until someone tells them. Ingitagnya, they should be able to pick up on subtle cues. So those kinds of people should be advising you. Or have you appointed such people as your mantris? And why? Because these mantris do mantra. Mantra is an upaya, a means, a tactic. So mantris are tacticians, people that come up with those tactics, right? The ministers, cabinet people, advisors, whatnot. So why are we giving such importance to that mantra? Mantro Vijayamulam Hirajñam Bhavati Raghava Susamvrito Mantradharaihi Amatyai Shastra Kovidaihi. Mantro Vijayamulam. Mantra, the tactics that you take up will determine whether you find success or not. And that tactic needs to be susamvritaha. It needs to be well protected by whom? Mantradharaihi Amatyaihi. By the Amatya, the ministers that Mantradharaihi, that come up with these, and Shastra Kovidaihi, who are well versed in all branches of learning. So the mantra that is well protected by such ministers will become the Vijayamulam, Rajñam Vijayamulam Bhavati. It will become the key to success for any administrator. Then Rama is asking how Bharata is taking these decisions. So, okay, fine, you need to have a mantra, but when are you doing mantra na? When are you taking these decisions? When are you thinking about this? Kacchit nidra avashan naishihi, kacchit kale prabudhyase, kacchit chapara ratre chintayasyarthanai punam. Hopefully, you are not too prone to sleep. Kacchit nidra avasham na eshihi. Hopefully, you are not falling under the spell of sleep too much. If you look at any ruler, be it a prime minister or even CEOs for that matter, or any administrator, any head of any institution, they cannot afford to sleep a lot just because their day needs to be full. Their day needs to be full of decision making and important decisions. So, Kacchit nidra avashan naishehe kacchit kale prabudhyase. Are you waking up early? You should not be sleeping in late. You should not be sleeping in with laziness. You should be waking up early. Kacchit chapararatreh chintayasyarthanai punam apararatra. Ratrasya aparo bhagaha apararatreshu. So the later parts of the night means the early parts of the morning. So not 10 p.m., 11 p.m., but 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Right. So the last yama of the night. So hopefully you are waking up then to consult with yourself. So even if we look at Chanakya's Arthashastra, Chanakya divides I think in the third book or the third or fourth book, Chanakya divides the king's day into various parts and says in this part he should think about this, in this part he should be doing his Devata Puja, in this part he should hold court, in this part he should listen to people, in this part he should put aside for study, in this part he should set aside for physical exercise. So Chanakya determines all of that. In the morning section, Chanakya puts out a list of all the things that a king needs to look over. Devalayas, are the temples in the kingdom being looked after properly, are the people happy, are taxes being collected properly? These all need to be thought about the king in the morning. That is why Rama is asking, Kacchit chapararat chintayasya arthanaipunam. Arthanaipunam. Artha means the prayojana, any task that you want to carry out. Naipunam, about the effectiveness of that task. Are you thinking or are you assessing? That is what it is. Are you assessing how effective you are being in the morning time? So the morning time is not for you to be sleeping in. Morning time is not for you to be watching movies or TV. Are you waking up in the morning, finishing whatever anushtana you need to do, and then are you looking after? Are you assessing yourself as in how effective am I? How effective are my plans? How effective are my policies? This actually does not go just for kings, but this goes for all humans. If we have heard Acharya's Jagadguru's Ugadi Anugraha Sandesha, Jagadguru said, Acharya said that just as when it comes to financial issues, we are planning ahead in time and we are checking ourselves. Okay, have I gotten the increment that I needed to? Am I financially where I wanted to be in the first quarter? Am I financially where I wanted to be in the second quarter? That also goes for Adhyatmika Sadhana. That also goes for a student that is studying. It goes for any task that goes. So the morning time is when we should be finishing Anusthana and putting it aside for self-introspection, self-contemplation. So that is what is happening here. Kachin mantrayase naikaha, kachinna bahubhissaha, kachitte mantrito mantraha rashtranna paridhavati. So hopefully, na ekaha mantrayase. Hopefully, you do not sit down and trying to think about what to do alone, and also not with too many people. If you sit alone, what happens? You don't have a second voice. You have no one to bounce ideas off of. You have no second pair of eyes to look at what is good and what is bad, pros and cons. The problem with Bahubhissaha is, Govindaraja writes there that Aikamatya Abhava. It is very hard to get one decision when there are so many people, right? You have the saying, too many cooks spoil the pudding. If you have too many people trying to decide how to do something, it is very hard to get them all to agree on something. With not just with unanimity, but with concord, right? They should not be a begrudging acceptance. They should all have one thing that they actually wholeheartedly agree on. So if you try to sit down and sit with 50 people, you will get 50 different opinions. Rather, it is much better to sit with 3, 4, 5 people, and you will have a small group that can very easily come to a consensus wholeheartedly. So that is what he is saying here. Kacchitte mantrito mantra rashtranna paridhavati. Hopefully, all the things that you are coming up with, rashtranna paridhavati. Hopefully, all the things that you think of in private are not running around the country. Means hopefully all of this is being done in private and is being kept private. Kacchirartham vinishchitti lagumulam mahodayam kshipramarahase kartum nadirghayasi raghava. Hopefully the things that you are thinking of are lagumulam. The seed money, the input should be minimal. Mahodayam, the output should be maximized. You should minimize the input and maximize the output. And hopefully you are quick and up to speed in terms of setting these plans in place. Hopefully you do not delay in setting your policies in place. Because there is a Subhashita, Kalaf Pibati Tadrasam. If you delay something, time drinks the essence of everything that should have happened. Right? Time drinks the effectiveness of that thing that should be happened if you delay. So what Rama is basically saying is telling Bharata is all the policies that you put in place, anything that you do, you need to figure out a way to get as much as possible out of as little as possible, right? Obviously, and not that you should not do something if this is not possible, but if you can find a way to generate, for example, 100 rupees out of 50, that is preferable than generating 70 rupees out of 60, right? Even though both are profits, it is obvious that you would much rather prefer to get 100 rupees out of 50 than 70 out of 60, right? So that is what Rama is saying. Kacchit te sukritanyeva kritarupani va punaha viduste sarvakaryani nakartavyani parthivaha. The other kings of different kingdoms, hopefully they don't know everything that you want to do. What should the kings be knowing? They should only know sukritani, the things that you have finished doing. So Govindaraja writes here, the Vyakya is beautiful. Sukritani, sushtukritani, sampaditani karyani. The things that you have finished doing. They should only know about the things that you have finished doing. And kritarupani. What does kritarupani mean? Because that is more or less the same thing as sukritani. What kritarupani means is things that are basically complete and that can now no longer be obstructed. So basically, the task has not finished. The task that the king has set forth on has not finished. But it is at a point where it will definitely happen. It is so far through the process that it will happen without any obstruction. So these are the only types of tasks that other kings should be hearing about. They should not hear kartavyani, the things that are still to be done, that are still to be put in place. Other kings, other politicians, other rashtras should not be knowing about your plans at all. They should only know about the things that you have already finished. They should only be knowing about the things that are basically done. This is exactly what is said in Raghuvamsha also. संस्काराः प्राक्तना यथा तस्य संवृतमन्त्रस्य गूढाकारेङ्गितस्य च फलानुमेयाः प्रारम्भाः संस्काराः प्राक्तना एव. So Dilip Maharaja used to keep his plans so well guarded that people only used to realize what his plans were after the effects had taken place. So once the plan had bore fruit, people used to look at the fruit of the plan and say, oh, it means that Dilip Maharaja had put this in place. So all the things that Dilipa did could only be known through their effects. No one knew what he was actually planning. And beautifully Kalidasa gives a simile there. Samskara praktana yatha. So we have samskaras, right? We are born. The tendencies of previous lives persist through the janmas to come, through the lives to come. So in the same way, you will not know what a person's inclination is. But seeing there is samskara, you will have to guess what the samskara is. So once you see someone doing something, you will have to guess, oh, this was the samskara in a previous janma. In the same way, people have to look at the results of Dilipa's actions and guess what his plans and policies were. In the same way, Rama is saying here, make sure that people don't know. Make sure that your plans aren't circulating the globe. Make sure that whatever you want to do is not escaping the purview of privacy. And that only the things that you have finished are being made available to the public. Kacchit tarkair va ye chaapyaparikertitaah tvaya va tava va matyehi buddhyateta tamantritam. Hopefully no one else is asking, hopefully no one else is able to know what your plans are either by asking or tarkaihi, by guessing, or aparikirtita, those things that you have not yet released to the public. Hopefully people are not figuring those out. People are not guessing about them and figuring them out. Then Kacchit then he is telling what kind of people to keep counsel with. Kacchit sahasran murkhanam ekamichhasi panditam. Kacchit sahasrat murkhanam ekamichhasi panditam. Pandito arthakrichreshu kuryan nishreyasam mahat. Hopefully you are preferring one wise man to 1,000 fools. Why is this? When it comes to tough times, when things get hard, arthakrichreshu, when it comes to tough decisions, tough items, one Pandita, Nishreyasam Param Kuryat, he will make sure that you come out of it happily and safely, and that good comes out of that. Murkhas are pretty useless. That is what Rama is saying in the Next shloka. Sahasranyapi murkhanam yadyupaste mahipatihi athavapi ayutanyeva nastiteshu mahiyata nastiteshu sahayata. So hopefully the people that you are keeping company with, they should be panditas and not murkhas. And why is this the case? Because even if you have 1,000 murkhas, they will not, tesham sahayata na bhavati, they will be of no help to you. Because you yourself will have to keep instructing them, looking after them, running after them, making sure that they are doing what you intended them to do and all that. So it is much better to have one. Ekopyamatyo medhavi shuro daksho vichakshanaha rajanam rajamatram va rajanam rajaputram va prapayen mahatim shriyam. So rather than these 1,000 fools, it is better to have one trustworthy amatya, one trustworthy minister who is medhavi, intelligent, shura, bold, dakshaha, capable, vichakshanaha, who can discern between, if you have two paths to take, who can look at the pros and cons and take a logical, reasoned decision, not an emotional one. That one amatya of such caliber is enough, and he will either get the Raja or the Yuvaraja, he will make sure that they attain great heights. This is very easily seen in Timarasu. Right? With Timarasu's help, Mahamantri Timarasu's help, Sri Krishnadevaraya attained great prominence. That was, of course, no doubt to obviously Krishnadevaraya's own administration. But to this day, Timarasu is remembered, is enshrined as a very great tactician and a very great instructor. One Timarasu was enough to usher in the golden age of Vijayanagara. Right? If you have a capable king too, of course. So that is what Rama is saying. Kachin mukhya mahatsveva madhyameshu cha madhyamaha jaghanyaastu jaghanyeshu bhrityah karmasu yojitaha. So hopefully, I am hoping that you are putting your best ministers on the hardest tasks, the middle level ministers on middle level tasks, and the least of the ministers on the lowest level tasks. Makes sense. Amatyan upadhati etan pitrpaita mahan shuchin shreshthan shreshtheshu kachitvan niyojayasi karmasu. So hopefully the amatyas, the best amatyas, Rama is qualifying them. So these are the best amatyas. Hopefully you are putting them to the best tasks. What are these best amatyas? Upadhati etan. Upadha is any crookedness born of a job. So what today we would call bribing, any scandals that would come like bribes, misuse of the position's power. So an upadhi is a position. So an upadha is something relating to that position, positional situations. So upadhatitan, are you, those ministers should be atita, they should be bereft of, or they should have transcended, they should have crossed such mean behavior such as taking bribes, showing favoritism, nepotism, all of this. You should have mantris that do not have this. Another meaning for upadha in Rajaniti Shastra is upadha supariksha syat. Upadha is a test that the king is supposed to put. So in Arthashastra, there are 4 types of tests that the king should give his advisor. One of loyalty, one of character. There are 4 tests that a king is supposed to give the minister in Chanakya's Arthashastra. So those tests are also called upadhas. So upadhati, that means hopefully all these ministers have passed the tests that you have set them. Pitrapaita Mahan, they have come in a succession. They have, they have a background of diplomacy kind of thing, right? Their forefathers were also doing kind of the same thing. Shuchin, they should be Shuchi. What does it mean? Does it mean that all the ministers need to come muddy every day to work? Shuchi means Trikarana Shuddha, Govindaraja has written here. Means they should have a clear mind and a clear heart and clear speech. Because when the minister is advising the king, there should be no duplicity. It should be very straightforward. So that is the Shuchitva that they're talking about here. And the minister should also, this is very important to this day and age, the minister should have the integrity to oppose any action that the king is taking that is adharmic. Right? So today, the equivalent of that is the cabinet officers and officials should be able to say no to the president or the prime minister if something that they're doing is wrong. That is what he's saying, Rama is saying here. Kachin nogrena dandena bhrisham udvejita prajam rashtram tava anujananti mantrinah kayi suta. Tava mantrinah rashtram anujananti na kachit. So if you are ugrena dandena, if you are being very cruel in your reign, if you are being too harsh is the right word. If your law, if your enforcement is too harsh, if your reign is too harsh, hope, and it is what udvejita prajam rashtram. Hopefully your kingdom, which if your kingdom is udvejita prajam, if the people are distressed in your kingdom, if your kingdom has distressed people in it, why ugrana dandena? If your kingdom has, if the citizens of your kingdom are distressed by your harsh rule, hopefully mantrinah tava na anujananti Kacchit. They do not let, anujananti means to allow, anugnya, right? To allow it to happen. Hopefully your ministers do not allow the kingdom to be afflicted by your harsh rule, right? So of course the king will have to be harsh, because if the king is a soft ball, then the borders will not hold. The people will forget about the borders. The people will not listen to what the government says to say. So there needs to be some rigor expected from the government that the government needs to enforce, but that should not turn into something that torments the very people it is meant to protect, right? So however, if you do go too far in your rule, if you are too harsh, hopefully your ministers are not sitting back and letting that happen. Hopefully they are telling you that this is too harsh, you must change your policy. So basically, do you have ministers of character? Do you have ministers of integrity who put the Rashtra Shreyas before their own personal tastes? That is what Rama is asking. Kacchitvam navajananti yajakah patitam yatha ugra pratigrahetaram kamayanamavastriyah. Even in the midst of this Rajaniti, Valmiki Maharshi manages to put some beautiful poetry into this. So the Rama is asking the yajakas, the people that do yajnas and all, hopefully they do not look down upon you, right? Hopefully they do not consider you a mean person, because those people will be pure of heart. Those people that are living off of yajna, they will be pure of heart. If they construe you to be a person of low character, it means that you are a person of low character. How ugra pratigrahitaram. So hopefully those yajakas are not considering you an ugra pratigrahitra, the same way that and look down upon you as a Stri would also look down upon an ugra pratigrahitra. This is the poetry of Valmiki. So what does this ugra pratigrahitra mean in the yajakas thing? Someone that takes upon pratigrahita, ugratrena pratigrahati te ugra pratigrahita, someone that cruelly collects taxes from the people, right? So hopefully yajakas do not look upon you as an ugra pratigrahita, do not curse you and look down upon you as an ugra pratigrahita, as someone that torments the people and extracts tax from them by tormenting them. Well, then why does a Stri care if the man is an ugra pratigrahita? A Stri will also not like an ugra pratigrahita, someone that takes her by force, someone that disturbs her dignity, someone that forces her into things, right? So just as hopefully the minister, the yajakas do not look down upon you as an ugra pratigrahita, the same way Stris look down upon ugra pratigrahitas. Beautiful poetry here also. Upaya kushalam vaidyam bhrityam sandoshane ratam shoram aishwarya kamancha yo nahanti savadhyate. Rama is now telling Bharata to be careful of certain people. Who are these people? Upaya kushalam vaidyam, a doctor that is too clever. Bhrityam sandoshane ratam, a servant that talks too much, that spreads too many rumors, that talks way too much. Shuram Aishwarya Kamancha, a warrior, a well-adorned warrior that has his eyes set on attaining lots of wealth. If you do not subdue these people, you will be subdued by them. Obviously, these are things that a king needs to look over. There will be people coming to the kingdom saying, I'm a good doctor, take me, I'm a good doctor, take me. The thing is, a good doctor will not only know how to get rid of an ailment, but will also know how to introduce an illness into the body. So obviously the king needs to protect his physical health. So make sure that you are not lax with the doctors. Do not take every single doctor at their word. If a doctor seems to be too skilled, don't trust him too much. Bhrityam sandoshane ratam. If your servant talks too much, he is not someone you can trust. Because if he sees anything inside the Rajamandira and he goes and tells that everywhere outside, that will be a problem for you. So a bhritya, a servant that talks too much, will always hurt the king. Then Shuram Aishwarya Kamancha. If there is a warrior, he is best used as a warrior. He needs to fight. He needs to protect the kingdom. If he wants to be in a position of political power, or if he wants to have bhogas and if he wants to have luxuries, at some point in time he will try to take your seat. He will try to take your position. So if you do not subdue these people, you will be subdued by them at some point. Kacchit dhrishtascha shurascha matiman dhritiman shuchihi kulinascha anuraktascha dakshas senapati kritaha. Hopefully you have made your senapati, your commander-in-chief, someone that is Dhrishta. There are two sannyas. You can say Kacchit Dhrishta will become Kacchit Dhrishta. Kacchit Dhrishta will also become Kacchit Dhrishta. So you can take the Parapada as either Dhrishta or Hrishta. Hrishta means is the Senapati content with whatever you are giving. I think Dhrishta, is he firm? Is he unassailable by people? Shura, Matiman, intelligent, Dhritiman, firm. Shuchi, as we said earlier, pure in thought, mind, and deed. Kulinaha, Anuraktaha, Dakshaha, capable, Anuraktaha, is he fond of you? Is such a person the Senapati? Balavantascha Kacchitte Mukhyaha Yuddha Visharadaha Drishtapadana Vikrantas Tvaya Satkritya Manitaha. Are you honoring the warriors? Are you honoring the warriors that have proven their prowess in battle? Drishta Apadana Vikranta. Apadana is a Purva Vritta, something that has happened in the past. Drishta Apadana Vikranta. So those Shuras that are valorous and have proven their valor in battle before, you are looking after them with the proper respects, are you not? That is why we have purple hearts, Veera Chakra, Paramavira Chakra. The reason we have all of this is that we need to make sure that the people that fight for us, the people that give their lives for this country are being respected properly. Are you doing that? Kacchit balasya bhaktancha vetanancha yadhochitam sampratta kalandatavyam dadasina vilambase. Balasya, for the army, hopefully you are giving bhaktam and vetanam properly. Bhakta is rations, whatever food the army needs. And Vetanam is Pratimasa Deyam. Pratimasam Deya. I think Pratimasam Deyam. I think Govinda Raja writes there. So the salaries, hopefully you are paying the army salaries and also giving it the proper resources and rations. And Samprapta Kalam, at the proper time, Tadasi Navilambase, hopefully you do not delay there, right? Rama is specifically making sure there are two people that every Rajaniti Shastra will look at, three groups that every Rajaniti Shastra will tell the king to worship like gods. Number one, Vidwans, people that are well versed in Shastras, because without their knowledge, the kingdom will not go forward and the king will not go forward. So you need the knowledge. Knowledge is power. So people that have knowledge need to be looked after and respected properly. Second is the army. A kingdom without an army is a person without hands. Only with an army will a kingdom be able to defend itself, ward off attacks. For Rakshana, you will have no protection otherwise. The only reason we are able to sleep properly today is because there is an army standing there in the Himalayas, freezing in the border, holding a gun, waiting, making sure that no one is coming that will hurt my country. The only reason that Bharata Desha's Pauras are able to sit and sleep happily, safely, is because those Sainikas are doing such an immeasurable sacrifice there in the border. So that army needs to be respected greatly. The last one is the farmers. Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. Right? The farmers are feeding us, sometimes at a loss to themselves. If there is no farmer, there is nothing to put on the plate. There is no food. There is no poshana of the country. So anywhere in Arthashastra, these three people will be given the first priority. So which is why even in the Arthashastra in Kautilya, when there is a drought, the first person that gets a tax exemption is the farmer. The first person that gets an exemption is the farmer. So all agricultural ventures, all agricultural entities will be given the first exemption when it is a drought in Chanakya's Niti Shastra, because we understood even back then, Chanakya is when? BC. So even back then we understood that these farmers need to be respected and revered. We should not throw money to them. We should not throw scraps to them. We should not cheat them. We should not, jack up the prices and deny them their fair share. These farmers are the basis of the country. So even then we had that. And in the same way, same thing with our Veeras, the people that give their life, that give their blood, the people that let their blood flow for the nation. They must be respected by you, Rama is saying. Then, why should you not delay in giving the army their dues? Kalatikrana chaiva bhakta vetana pure bhrataha bhartuh kupyanti dushyanti swanartha sumahan smrtaha. If the army if the army is annoyed, or if the army curses the king, that will bring about very horrible results for the king. Two ways. A, if you have dissent among the ranks of the army will not function properly. One. Second is, someone as pure as a proper soldier, a proper kshatriya that is a kshatriya, that today's then kshatriyas, today's army, a proper soldier that is fighting for their country, someone that pure and someone who has taken upon such a pure undertaking, if their heart truly is hurt and if they curse someone, that curse will be fulfilled. In the same way, how a Brahmana that has studied Veda and has done a lot of Anushtana and has kept a clean character, in the same way that his curse will be infallible. In the same way that someone who has done a lot of Anushtana with a clean mind, their curse will be infallible. In the same way that a Pativrata Stri, in the same way that her curse will be infallible. In the same way of anyone, whatever trade they do, if they do it wholeheartedly and purely, their curse will be infallible. The same goes for the army as well. So Rama is saying, make sure that you give them things in time. Kacchit sarvenu rakta astvam kulaputrah pradhanatah kacchit prana astava artheshu santijanti samahitah. Hopefully the youth, all the youth that are in important positions, hopefully they love you so much that they are ready to give their life for you. Because a new king that has come into power should immediately put up good relations with the other new positions of power. Obviously, reverence and a certain position will be given to elders who have been serving for a long time. But also due importance needs to be given to young people, because they are the people that this person, that the administrator will be working with throughout the course of their tenure. So do you have such camaraderie between the young people that are in important positions of power in such a way that they would give their lives for you? Then Kacchit janapado vidwan dakshinah pratibhanavan yathoktavadi dutaste krito bharata panditah. Have you made such a person your duta, your emissary? What person? Janapada. Janapada is the country's own land. So Janapada means, is he a native of the Rashtra, of the country? Vidwan, is he knowledgeable? What does knowledgeable here mean? Is he able to understand the fine points of what the other person is saying? So when the Duta takes a message, is he able to understand the fine print of what the other person is saying? Dakshinaha, capable. Pratibhanavan, is he intelligent? What is this Pratibha? He should be intelligent because he should know how to respond in that time itself. Right? So if you send a foreign diplomat or something, or if a foreign minister goes overseas, you should not spit out whatever the government has decided. If they say something, 1 second, I will go back to India, find out what the Prime Minister wants me to say, and then come back. He should have the intelligence to understand what is in the best interest of the country and behave in that way, in that place, in that time, and react appropriately. So Pratibhanavan, Yathoktavadi, he should be able to convey the meaning, the message faithfully. Means in such a way that will get the job done there, but also without putting extraneous information into it. Has such a person been made into a Duta, Panditaha, a well-learned person? If we apply this to Hanuman, we will see all of these are perfectly applicable to Hanuman. Kacchit ashtadashakhyeshu svapakshedash panchacha tribhir vijñataihi vetsi tirthani charakaihi. So this is definitely a Shastra shloka. He says there are ashtadasha tirthas, or pakshas they are called here. And of those, there are 18 things to be looked after as a king, 18 things to know about via spies. Right? So there are 18 matters that your spies should be looking at. So 18 matters when it comes to neighboring countries and other kingdoms, 15 of those 18, only 15 apply to your own. So are you looking after those with your choras? So tribhir avijñataihi vetsi tirthani charakaihi. And on top of that, the way that these spies should be is, even the spies should not know who is a spy and who is not. We will see this in Mudra Rakshasa. So one spy comes to Chanakya's house, another spy is standing guard at the door. These two spies start fighting because they don't know that both of them are working for Chanakya. In the same way, the level of secrecy you should maintain with your spies is such that your espionage system, the people in your espionage system should not know, even in some cases, obviously everyone should not be clueless, but some places it should be in such secrecy that even they do not know who is working for whom. But now you'll obviously get the question, what are these 18 elements that should be looked after, that the spies should be looking after in the foreign policy, and what are in foreign affairs, and what are the 18 things that they should be looking after in internal affairs? If we ask that question, their Shastra is saying these are Mantri, Purohita, Senapati, Yuvaraja, Pratihari, Antarvamshika, Karagara Adhikritaha,
अर्थसञ्चयकृत् कार्यनियोक्ता प्राड्विवाकः सेनाधिनायकः क्रमान्तिक अध्यक्षः नगराध्यक्षः धर्माधिकृत् कर्मान्तिक नगराध्यक्षः धर्माधिकृत सभ्यः राष्ट्रपालः दुर्गपालः दण्डपालः. These are the 18. So once again, if we count, we have Mantri, Purohita, Senapati, Yuvaraja, Pratihari, Antarvamshika, Karagaraधिकृत अर्थसञ्चयकृत् कार्यनियोक्ता प्राड्विवाक सेनानायक क्रमान्तिक नगराध्यक्षो धर्माधिकृत सभ्य राष्ट्रपाल दुर्गपाल दण्डपाल. 18. So these are the 18 people that you should be, or 18 people that you should have spies looking after. First is in the Parapaksha, in foreign policies, Mantri, minister, Purohita, Senapati, the commander-in-chief, Yuvaraja, prince, or the person that will next ascend to power, Pratihari, Dauvarika, the people that stand guard at the doors. So basically the security. Antarvamshikaha, the person that is there in the Antahpura. So obviously people that stand guard doors are different. The people that is set to protect the Antahpura is different. So that Antarvamshika. Then Karagara Adhikritaha, the person that is looking after the prison system, the imprisonment system, the person that is looking after that. Artha Sanchayakrit, the person that is in charge of collecting all wealth from the people and putting that to use. Artha Sanchayakrit, the person that is in charge of collecting wealth and recording it. So basically the accountant of all monetary affairs. Karya Niyokta, the person that is in charge of appointing people and setting tasks, administrative type thing. Pradvivakaha, Vyavahara Drashta, the person that oversees. So one is the person that appoints things, the other person is the person that oversees the tasks that are done. Pradvivakaha, then Senadhinayakaha, then Karmantikaha, not Senadhinayaka. Karmantikadhyaksha, the person that looks after the employment of the employment of the government. So the person that is looking after whether or not all the employees are getting their dues, what positions do we need to fill, do we have more positions, that person is the Karmantikadhyaksha. Then you have the Nagaradhyaksha, the person that is looking over the city as a whole. Nagaradhyaksha, Pura Paripalaka. Then you have Dharmadhyaksha, Dharmasan Adhikrit, so the person, a justice, judge kind of thing. So what is now the legal system, the justice system. So he is the Dharmadhikrita. Then you have the Sabhya, the person that is looking over sabhas, so gatherings, or even the Raja Sabha, so the court, when the king holds court, the person that looks after that person. Then Rashtranta, the person that is looking after the borders, Rashtra Paripalaka. So what is the border security of the kingdom, the kingdom's borders, the state's borders. And Durgapalaka, so who is looking after the forts, the military establishments, right? Because not all military establishments are obviously within the borders, or even some will be within, some will be without. Someone needs to look after all of that. So that person. Then Durgapala, Dandapala, the person that is not in charge of justice but enforcement, so punishment, right? So if punishing crimes appropriately. So these are the 18 people, or the 18 facets of the government that you need to have your spies looking after at all times. So these are the 18 that need to be looked after in foreign affairs, so in foreign states. Now when it comes to your own states, 3 are not there. Those 3 that are not there are the Mantri, Purohita, Yuvaraja. So if it is your own state, you don't have to have these 3 tailed with that much scrutiny as the other 15 are. Why? There Govindaraja writes, because the king will spend most of his time around these people anyway. The Yuvaraja and the Mantri will spend most of the time, Purohita also. So because these 3 will be close to the king anyway, he will be observing them. So you do not have to have these 3 in your own kingdom followed as much as the other 15. But all 18, so this 3 plus 15, all 18 of these need to be looked after in a different kingdom. Then Kacchit Hyapastan Ahitan Pradiyatamshta Sarvada Durbala Nanavajnaya Vartase Pusodana. So Bharata, over the course of your rule, you will conquer some foes, you will conquer enemies, you will subdue them. Make sure that you do not judge them too lightly. Rama is saying, just because I won over them once or they have been subdued before, does not mean that you can look on them lightly. Do not take them lightly. Make sure you pay them the appropriate amount of respect and also give them the important amount of gravity. So this does not mean that go there and praise them like a Vandimagaya. It means that do not discount them when you take decisions. Do not look upon them lightly when you're taking decisions. Just because a group, in today's day, could even be something like a terrorist group. Just because some group has been subdued doesn't mean that you can take it out of the picture. Make sure you have an eye on it at all times. Then Kachinna loka yedikan brahmanastat asevase anartha kushala yete balah panditamaninaha. And hopefully you are not taking counsel from lokayatikas. Lokayatikas are what? Lokameva ayat lokam lokasiddham pratyaksha pramanameva ayanam pratishtha yesham. Those people that take only pratyaksha pramana and do not even take Veda or Anumana, Rupmana, or Arthapatti or Anupalabdhi, those people that take only Pratyaksha Pramana. So basically Bauddhas and Charvakas, these people will generally come into that. But make sure that you don't listen to those people, should not be the people that you should be paying your respects to. Then dharma, why then they are saying dharma shastreshu mukhyeshu vidyamana sudurbudha buddhyam anvikshikim prapya nirartham pravadanti tat. Things that they say do not have substance to them, nirartham pravadanti. Why? Because satsapi vidyamaneshu dharmashastreshu mukhyeshu, even though there are many dharmashastras, there are many texts that teach us about dharma, they are durbudhaha. Their mind towards those dharmashastras is not proper. And so what do? Anvikshikim buddhim prapya. Anvikshiki dandaniti tarka vidyartha shastrayoh. Anvikshiki is nyaya, tarka. So they do what is called kevala tarka, dry logic that is bereft of actual rhyme and reason, and also shruti smriti pramana. So what these people that only take pratyaksha pramana is, they won't have a big picture, and also when it comes to religious affairs also, they won't have a proper understanding. So make sure that you don't follow those people, which is why our smritis tell us आर्ष धर्मोपदेशंच वेद शास्त्रा विरोधिना यस्तर्केणानुसन्धत्ते सधर्मो वेद नेतरः. So आर्ष धर्म उपदेशंच, so that which is so first it needs to unite the person with arsha dharma. So with the dharma that the rishis have given us, it needs to give us with that. Veda Shastra avirodhina tarkena. So the Arsha Dharma needs to be united with Tarka. It has to have reason that does not contradict Veda and Dharma Shastra, Shruti and Smriti. So Sadharmo Veda Netaraha. So the proper path to follow is that Tarka, that logic, that Upaya, that worldly knowledge that is not opposed to Shruti and Smriti. So that is the kind of rule that you need to have that will be optimal, which is why these lokayatikas, these people that only take pratyaksha pramana, those are not the people that you should be looking after. So thus saying, Rama then goes on to talk about the way that the city should be set up. What are the qualities of the city? So that we will see on Navami. Today already I think I have taken more time than I intended to. But one thing I really want us all to understand today is, these are not things that are removed far from memory or from time. These are not things that are just for the kingdoms or for kshatriyas of those days. These are things that governments need to follow to this day. Not just governments, even corporations and organizations. And I would argue even so far as many of these things that Rama is instructing Bharata on are applicable even to individuals if they wish to find success. I am sure if you go back and listen to this video again, and if you look at the shlokas so far, you will find many things that will be applicable to the individual. Alpamulam mahodayam, lagumulam mahodayam, a small investment, large return. That is something. Apararatreshu chintayasya arthanai punim. You assess yourself early in the morning, all the way to trust people, who to get counsel from, who are you seeking counsel from. It does not have to be a minister, even as an individual. Who do you go to for advice? Are you going to people that are just dry logicians, or are you going to people that know Sampradaya, know Shastra, also are intellectual, also have logical bent of mind? All of this is applicable to the individual also. So this Ramayana was written for us. Ramayana was written to instruct us. Valmiki Maharshi wrote it to instruct us. Rama walked this earth as a human for us. So keeping that in mind, it is our job to read this Ramayana properly, and of course get the grace of Bhagavan Ramachandra, but also importantly learn how to lead a dharmic and successful life. One of the most frequently heard complaints is, if I follow dharma, I will not be successful. That is not true at all. Dharmancha, arthancha, kamancha, trayametat. All three of these will be given by our Sanatana Dharma, and that is evident that will be evident to us if we read our texts If we read our Arsha Vangmaya, if we read the text that Maharshis have given us, and if we follow the tenets that they have given us, there is not even an iota of doubt that we will not only get Shreyas in Paraloka due to following Dharma, but even in the Ihaloka, even in this world, we will lead a very happy, prosperous, and well-meaning, fruitful life that is worth it. That is Sarthaka. So that is the reason why we look at these texts on such Parvadinas, why we look at such Sargas, such parts of this text. So this is Rajaniti, this is Niti, this is Dandaniti. This is the way that a state finds success. This is the way that a company finds success. This is the way that a corporation, that an institution, that a group finds success. So thus far we have seen some of the things that Ramachandra has asked Bharata, has instructed Bharata on. The remaining part we will look at today. Hopefully tomorrow on Navami. Hopefully it will take less time than today. I think it should. There are only maybe 30 shlokas left. So I will see you all tomorrow. And until then, let us think of Ramachandra and our Jagat Gurus and pay our most respectful Ashtanga Namaskaras to their feet. इत्येषा वाङ्मयी पूजा श्रीमच्छङ्करपादयोर् अर्पिता तेन देवेश प्रीयतां मे सदाशिवः मङ्गलं कोसलेन्द्र